Basically, I moved here for marriage because I met an fam. Hi everyone, I'm Camille.
And I'm Angelica. And today we're going to share to you how we moved to Europe.
It's gonna be interesting because we moved to Europe for different reasons.
So we're going to share to you how the opportunity came up, what the documents were needed, and other stuff like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's start actually with you, Jelik. How did
Okay.
you move to Europe?
That's a pretty long story, but in short, I had a job back in the Philippines and I got really burnt out from it. So I started looking for jobs in Europe. So not particularly where I am right now. So I started looking and luckily I found this job posting on Google, applied, got my lock in, and here I am right now.
Oh, that's awesome. How lucky
Yeah,
can you be, especially in the job market today, right? Where it's so
exactly. Yeah.
difficult.
I'll share more details later.
Yeah.
But how about you, Camille? A quick summary?
Basically, I moved here for marriage because I met an fam. I moved here for marriage. Well, back in the Philippines, I was studying European languages, but
Mm-hmm.
my major was French and then German. But I'm in Italy, so
What made you want to move to Europe? Was it your dream? Was it because of your studies?
well, I think the last time we spoke, you told me about Harry Potter, right? So
Harry Potter,
actually,
yeah.
even when I was little too, I think that's our first exposure of Europe. I mean,
Mm.
now it's not a part of Europe with the Brexit, but basically, um, Harry Potter is there. The accent's so good. The worlding in Harry Potter, the setting, it's so cool. So I got interested into, practicing more like British English and the
Mm.
wanting to see structures in Europe and things like that. But to be completely honest, since I've mentioned that I'm studying European languages in the university, I just really wanted to try it for a year or so. Like, I'm gonna go to France for a year or 6 months even. I just wanted to see if I'm gonna like it. And then if I liked it, I'm gonna stay. Otherwise, if I
Yeah.
didn't like it, I'm gonna go back to the Philippines. And then
Yeah.
I've always loved exploring cultures. So yeah, it's that studying in university with European languages and wanting to try
Mm-hmm.
out whether I'm gonna like living in Europe. But yeah, I've talked a lot. What about you, Jellic? What made you want to move to
No, that's
Europe?
okay. You mentioned Harry Potter. I think one particular reason is media consumption when I was a kid. Every
Mhm.
time I see movies set in Europe, anywhere in Europe, it has always sparked my interest. Someday I'm gonna go there. Someday I'm gonna see that. And I had that dream kept aside for a while. And then suddenly, when I mentioned burnt out in my job, I realized, why don't I try pursuing a job in a continent that I've been wanting to go since I was a kid? So I did that.
Mhm.
So I think that was my main motivation of wanting to move to Europe. It has
Mhm.
always a dream to me. So living the dream right now is kind of, surreal. And I still can't believe some days that, wow, I'm here. Every time I step out of
Yeah.
my, excuse me, my house, I see different structures and, architecture of buildings. Is this real? Like, am I really here? So really a dream come true for me.
Yeah, that's so true. But before, when you were looking, for example, seeing Europe in media and everything, were you really dreaming of actually moving here, or it's more for you wanted to travel and see, or you wanted a job here?
Funny enough, no. I always just wanted to travel and visit.
Ah,
It hasn't come into my mind that I will be, the tita who will live abroad and,
that you
you
barely
know,
see.
yeah, you barely see, but always gives you gifts and money. But
True.
now I'm that tita. I really just wanted something new besides my previous job. So why not another
Mm.
country?
And then you mentioned also that since it's about travel and not necessarily in the country that where you are now. So what were the European countries that you were thinking before you got a job there?
So right now I'm in the Netherlands and I didn't
Mm.
limit my search in the Netherlands. So at first I was looking somewhere in London, somewhere like
Harry
in
Potter, right?
the Harry Potter stuff has got to be there. So I'm looking also in Switzerland because I saw that the pay is really high
Mm.
there, but then I later realized cost of living is also really high. I wasn't getting much results, so I just literally searched my job title in Europe. And then a couple of postings showed up, and
Yeah.
then a lot of them are coming from the Netherlands. So I think the Netherlands is hiring a lot in this
Mm.
sector. So I limit my
Mm-mm.
search in the Netherlands, and that's when I found the posting for the job I
Yeah.
have right now.
That's so cool.
Mm.
Amsterdam is a huge tech hub, practically,
Yes,
in
yes,
Europe.
that's true.
I
I
mean,
wanted to ask you something. Like, you mentioned you studied German and French, right?
yeah.
How is the adjustment learning Italian right now? Is it natural for you because you already know
Mm.
other European language structures, or how is
Mm.
it right now?
Good question. Well, actually, since I've always mentioned that I've never really learned, like studied properly Italian, but
Mm-hmm.
I just always try to get it from my French knowledge because they're both Latin languages. So in a way, the
Mm.
structures and some words are kind of the same. When I came here, I've practically have no idea that much about Italian.
Yeah.
Not at all. For example, my parents-in-law, they
Mm.
don't speak English. And I
Mm.
live in the countryside here in Italy where maybe 90% of people only speak Italian. And also there's a dialect and things like that.
Mm.
Of course, when I go out, it's always in Italian. Every
Yeah.
conversation is in Italian. And I don't know, maybe I just always say that I'm thankful that I learned French because it helped me a lot when I try to
Mm.
have conversations here. Not the pronunciation because it's completely different, but learning French, the structure, the words and things like that. It
Yeah.
helped me a lot with learning Italian.
That's so cool. You're officially like I don't know, trilingual. No, like how do you call it? Fourlingual. Fourlingual queen.
I,
Going five now, learning Italian. That's really cool.
uh,
Yeah.
thank you. I think they call it polyglot, but I'm personally not
Yes. Yes.
inclined. I don't. I'm not just a fan of the term polyglot. I think I prefer multilingual.
Multi-
Because of course, living here for a while, I also kind of forget some of the French words or of course
Mm.
German words and things like that. Like when I try to think about something, I would remember it in Italian, but not in French
Mm.
anymore or something. What about you there? What about Dutch? Is it
Dutch. Oh
difficult?
my. Oh my. I have been trying my best to learn the language ever since, or not even when I moved here, even before. I started with Duolingo, and
Yeah.
then luckily our office had free lessons that
Mm-hmm.
I could take. So I also started that.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I think I could read, I could write. And
Ah,
the
that's
one
awesome.
thing I'm struggling with is speaking and listening. Because here, the Dutch have a very high English proficiency. So
Yeah.
when they hear a slight accent from you, even though you're speaking Dutch, they're gonna
Yeah.
switch to English. So it's
Yeah.
kind of frustrating. But some of them speak to me in Dutch full, even though my Dutch is broken. But most of them would switch to English. I think it's their preference as well because most of
Yeah.
these are interactions from like service jobs, supermarkets,
Mm.
so they don't have time to explain to you
Yeah, exactly.
or to practice Dutch with you. But
Mm.
yeah, it's really hard to practice actually
Mm.
speaking, coming up with sentences real time. That's a bit of a struggle for me right now. Another thing is making Dutch friends, so that's a different
Uh,
story. So I don't have anyone to
absolutely.
practice with. Also, in our workplace, our main language is English. So
English only.
yeah, there's really not much avenue to like practice it. So
Mm.
a bit of a
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. I think you know it. Just basic respect, to learn the language of the country you're in.
Absolutely. Since we moved into a country, it's only respectful for us to actually adjust to the
True.
culture that they have,
True.
and first of
Mm,
all, like try to understand well their language as much as we
yeah.
can. And you mentioned something that's very interesting that it's
Hmm.
difficult to make friends, but I think that would be a very good topic for us next time, and
Next
we can
time,
explore
yeah.
that because
Yeah,
already
we're
as an
getting a
adult.
bit sidetracked.
True.
We're gonna talk about the moving thing, so
Oh,
maybe we
true,
should
true.
go back to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Let's see. So you moved as a highly skilled immigrant. That's how it's officially
Yes.
called, right?
Yes.
Officially.
Yes. Officially called it's called HSM, so highly skilled migrant. So I work
Mm.
in tech. So I'm a developer. The way I moved here is mostly covered by the company. So what do I mean by
Mm-hmm.
that? So my visa, my flight tickets, the processing of most of the documents, my company shouldered everything. So in that aspect, it was quite easy for me. So
Yeah.
the only one that was really difficult was all OFWs know this, like the
Oh.
OEC or the Overseas Employment Certificate. Man, that was one of the most stressful at time I had, just processing one single paper. I had to take a medical, I had to attend different seminars, I had to
Oof.
submit like hundreds of pages of whatever they need just to get this paper so that the
Mm.
immigration officer in the airport would let me go. On the other side of things, I understand why it's needed, because a
Mm.
lot of our OFWs are being mistreated abroad, so they
Exactly.
have to make sure that company sponsoring you is a proper company, a legitimate company. So in
Mm-hmm.
that way, it's understandable. What I don't understand is why we have to pay for that document.
Ah, okay. Does
I
it cost a
almost
lot?
paid like it was a lot. Just the OEC, I think I
Hmm.
it costed around 7,000 pesos, 8,000 pesos at the
Wow.
time.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Not considering like the medical, the
mm,
one you go to the notary for because they need notarized documents and
yeah,
everything
yeah.
else. So it's
Hmm.
quite costly. I had the feeling that the Philippines didn't want to let me
Let
get
you leave.
away from
Oh
the
my gosh. I
country
think
or
it's the
break
same.
away. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what about you, Liko? What happened to your process?
No, I mean that's such a good thing that you said because it's very concerning if it's 7,000
Mm.
pesos. Because of course I didn't do all this OFW stuff. Practically, people Filipinos leave the country for a better salary, right?
True.
So
Yeah.
they don't have a starting money. Like a capital, most people have to loan money just
True.
to go out of the country properly. 7,000 and all the back and forth that you need to do for the seminar, for the
Exactly.
medical. That's very worrying, I think, and it's very concerning.
It's
that
very tedious. Definitely. I don't know why. And another thing, you can't find a reliable documentation for all of that. Like I
it's not
had to
in one.
rely on Facebook groups,
Through
true Filipino culture, like coming up
Facebook.
together with the solution and combining it everything ourselves. But if
Yeah.
you look at the websites, it's scattered everywhere. So it's really, really was a difficult time. And you mentioned something about the loan. I don't know if the Philippine government thinks that when you go out of the country, you already have the
You're
money.
really rich.
I don't have the money at the time. So
Yeah.
at the time I loaned from my cousin actually in the US because
Mm.
I didn't have enough to shoulder the deposit for the rent here. Because as you know, rent
Ah.
here
Mm.
very expensive and you have to pay 3 months advance. I had to loan that and had to borrow that because I didn't have enough
Yeah.
amongst all the expenses. But yeah, that was my story. And I'm curious about you. It's very different. You took the
Oh
marriage
yeah.
path and what happened there?
Yeah, well, it's totally different because I would say that you were lucky enough, for example, with the visa part because
Yeah.
since you're also on Facebook groups, right? I think you might have seen a lot of people applying for a different type of visa and most of them get
Mm,
rejected. And it's
yes.
so heartbreaking because of course visa in itself is already around 4 to 5,000 pesos, just the
Oh,
application itself.
wow. Okay.
And it's non-refundable. If you got
Mm.
rejected, you're never gonna get your money back.
For
All the
real?
effort,
Yeah.
yeah, all the efforts that you did to try to get the visa,
To
all
get
of
the
it is
visa.
just. Mm.
Yeah.
So going to Italy, there's no such thing as a fiancé visa or something
Mm.
like that. If we're boyfriend and girlfriend, I need to take tourist visa. So for the tourist visa, it's practically the same as if you're just going to visit in Rome. If you
So
want to
similar
visit in
to
Rome.
everyone. Yeah,
Exactly.
applying. Okay,
It's just
okay.
similar. But then I of course need to mention that I'm going to visit my boyfriend and also I think the part there that was difficult is that it felt in a way like an invasion of privacy that you have to show
Yes.
all your chats or like your video
Oh my
calls
gosh.
like to
Yeah.
prove this that your relationship is strong, which of course
True.
is
Mm.
understandable, right? That
Mm-mm.
you gotta have a real connection, a real relationship with a
Mm.
person. Otherwise, you're mostly gonna get rejected if you're a Filipina or like from a third
Mhm.
world country and you just
Mhm.
want to meet someone in Europe for the first time.
Mm.
So it's gonna be a red flag.
That's a
Also,
separate topic altogether,
yeah,
you know.
exactly. Yeah,
Why?
exactly.
Why does it have to be a red flag? But yeah, sorry, yeah. Continue.
Well, you know how much papers like it's literally like one binder of documents,
I
right?
see
Just
it.
to prove that you can go
I
every
see it online. I'm crazy.
So what we did was my husband went to the Philippines to live with
Mm.
me. We lived together for 5 months. I think that's enough as a strong relationship, living
Mm.
together. And then also to prove that you go back to the country in time. So we went out of the
Don't.
country twice. Yeah, we
Mm.
visited non-visa countries first because otherwise I'm gonna apply for another visa and it's gonna
Asian countries like
Yes.
Taiwan. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we spent some time there, and then at
Mm.
least the immigration officers can see that you go back at the time that you're supposed to go back and
Yes. You
your
don't go
passport has not.
TNT.
Yeah, you don't go TNT. Oh yeah. That one, and then a show of your bank account that
Mm.
there's continuous money coming in.
Yeah.
I would consider myself really just lucky because even when I was in the Philippines, I'm already earning enough. I was already earning as much as my Italian boyfriend was earning.
Mm, nice. Yeah.
So it was a good show of money at least
Yeah.
that my average daily balance is this and it just
Mm-hmm.
continues coming in. Actually, some documents I might not remember anymore because those are the things that you wanted to forget because it's so
100%. 100%.
it's so traumatic.
So dramatic. Yeah.
We gather all those documents and then you write a cover letter. I submitted my bank account, my insurance investment fund, and then the proof
Mm.
of our relationship and a proof, for example, that I'm gonna go back. Or if you plan to stay there, you say that this is a tourist visa, but we plan to marry. So yeah, all of those details, and it's quite really, really tiring.
All the bureaucracy. Like it's kind of crazy, right? Must have been, a different feeling for you too because you love this person. You truly
Mm.
love this person and then the country treats you at first not to feel like very welcome. Why am I getting like a tourist visa and go through all this process? But yeah, I'm happy that
Yeah.
you're there now safely.
Yeah, thank you. My gosh, it was such a stressful moment in my life. I think one of the things that's difficult to prove, even if you go to the
Mm-hmm.
Facebook group, is the strong ties in the Philippines. Because
Ah, yeah.
what do I say? I don't have a child. I don't have a pet. My parents are
Yeah.
not senior citizens. I don't own a physical business. So,
Mm.
what do I say? I mean, I only have my condo to go back to. But isn't that enough? It's a bit stressful. Like, what else do I need to be
Understandable.
tied to in the Philippines?
Yeah, yeah, crazy requirements. You mentioned something about living. So when you moved there in Italy, you already had
Mhm.
like a house, apartment or something where your boyfriend or husband now stays, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I miss it a lot. It's a bit
Mm-hmm.
difficult, honestly, to leave it because I love the place. I see a view of the entire city from there. It's such a beautiful,
Nice.
everything is convenient and things like that.
I was about to mention I could share the process I went through to find an apartment.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it was really crazy. At the time I was here, moved here and until now. So what happened was my first month here, my
Mm-hmm.
company sponsored a hotel for me to stay so
Mm.
that they can give me time to look for my own apartment and everything. So that was free, which was nice. But
Oh,
then the
cool.
actual search, I didn't expect it to be that competitive. In the Philippines, you just look in Facebook, Facebook Marketplace.
It's always
You
there.
find an apartment, ask someone, ask your tita, and you're gonna find an
Mm.
apartment. Here, there's a very strict process that you have
Mm.
to follow. First, you have to look for the apartment, of course, and then you have
Mm.
to apply to that apartment.
Mm.
and they asked for how much I'm earning. And at first I
Mm.
didn't know why. Am I single? Do I have pets?
Yeah.
Like, am I noisy? Am I messy or everything? So it's a bit of a different thing because I kind of have to introduce myself and prove to them that I could afford this house. I will clean this house, and that I'm a
Mm-hmm.
quiet person. I'm a single person. I have no pets. That's the second thing. After applying, you have to wait if they consider you because there's like
Okay.
hundreds of people applying to the same apartment. So you're
Oh,
lucky if
okay.
you get one. Some do lottery from the
Mm.
list. Some filter it with the highest salary based on what I heard.
Oh, yeah?
So yeah,
Mm.
so it's really difficult because at first I wanted to get €1,000 apartment, so that's
Yeah.
like 60,000 pesos already. But here that's
Mm.
kind of cheap. But then I realized in the Netherlands there's a law that you can't rent a certain amount if your salary exceeds a certain
Yeah.
threshold. So
Mm-mm.
that's exempted for students, old people, and
Mm-hmm.
people with less means.
Yeah.
So okay, €1,000, scratch it out.
Already.
Had to increase it. Okay, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 until I reach.
Mm.
Okay, I won't go past 1.5. That's
One
too
time.
much money.
Mm.
After they screen you, you get to visit the apartment. So there's 30 people in the apartment just looking for 15
All
minutes.
of you
Yeah, because in the next
together.
50 minutes, there's gonna be another 30 people looking at the
Oh,
apartment.
wow.
And then if you like the apartment, you need to tell them again that, okay, I'm interested in this apartment. Please consider
Mm.
me. Gonna need to send your details again. And
Mm.
that's how it happens. And I did that for 10, 15 apartments during the 1 month stay.
Yeah.
And imagine, I move into a new country. I'm starting a new
And
job. I don't have
yeah.
anyone here and I'm looking for an apartment.
Yeah,
And good
exactly.
thing I was excited then because if I do it right now, I think I would be just too depressed to move out of the
Absolutely. Which
house. But yeah, it was a crazy thing. So anyone wanting to move to the Netherlands, make sure to do your research,
that is true.
especially in housing. I didn't do my my research that much. I knew it was expensive. Didn't know how it was that crazy. I was excited when I moved, so everything was just okay. Next thing, next thing, next thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a very good thing when you're excited to move because at least you have
mhm,
the energy and at least you
exactly.
can overcome whatever sadness you're feeling from moving away from your family
Mhm.
or whatever. Yeah, because you're still excited.
That was quite a story. I'm curious, did you also have your own surprises and culture shock when you moved there in Italy?
I would say that our culture is pretty much near the Italian culture,
Mm,
especially here in the countryside. They're close to their family, they give importance to their family. Maybe not as close as us, like living together and whatever, but yeah, culture-wise, and also with the Catholic churches around and things like that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I think for me, it's I mentioned that I'm from the big city, right?
Right, yeah.
In when I was living in the Philippines, a
Mm,
tall building where I lived, where I can
mhm,
see the entire city view, and everything was so convenient. I go
mhm.
down from the building, there's a 24/7 convenience store.
Yeah, yeah.
So whenever I get hungry or whatever, I just want to change of atmosphere, I go down and the store is
Mhm.
open. When I crave for something, there's a milk tea shop nearby
Yeah.
with also some
Yeah.
snacks and things like that. And then since it's the main city too, there are a bunch of restaurants around, malls. You can find malls every 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And I didn't need a car back when I was in the Philippines because first I'm doing remote work. I didn't need to
Yeah.
travel for work. And even if I need to travel, well, it's too much traffic. So, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Memories.
through trauma. So when I need to go out, going to the mall or well, it's mostly the mall that I go to because where else can we go back there, right? I mean, our culture revolved around that because it's
Mm,
hot and humid in the Philippines. So when we go to the
true, yeah.
mall, malls are heavily air conditioned. So we want to
Yeah.
go there. But if we go to the park, we're just gonna burn. So it was so convenient for me that I didn't need a car. And when I want to go out, I just book a taxi. I book a Grab. And yeah, someone, can practically drive me. But then I
Yeah.
took a license because I suppose I'm gonna need it here, which is true,
Mhm.
but wasn't allowed to convert the Filipino.
Oh,
driver's license to an
okay.
Italian one. That's why I have to study again and do my license here. But it's fine
Mm,
because at least I also get to practice Italian, and all the road signs here are in Italian anyway. Unlike in the
yeah.
Philippines, everything is
It's
in
in English.
English.
Yeah.
So it's easier. So that life of convenience, it's pretty much alive 24/7. And then I suddenly switched here to the Italian countryside, which the
Mm,
things that you see, the slow life, going out and there's nature, there's literally a river, and then there are mountains where I can walk to. It's very different. If I crave
mm-hmm.
something now, I need to make it from scratch. I need to start a trad wife. No, I need to start a trad
Need to
wife.
gather, gather and then let it sit for
True.
days.
Like, let me get the tomatoes from my garden. Yeah, for
Mm,
example, oh my gosh, now my husband and I love chow fan.
yeah.
Like, it's
From
choking.
Chowking. Okay, okay.
I mean, he likes it when I cook it. He hasn't really tasted the one from Chowking. But what I mean is, if I crave for that, I just order it, right? It's
Yeah.
easy, it's cheap. Even the burger, actually, I make myself. The patty, it's,
But that's really good, right?
yeah, it is
Organic and
one.
homemade. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, here in the countryside, even McDonald's is, what is it, like 50 minutes to an hour away?
That's far. Yeah.
There's literally nothing.
Wow.
And then there's only one restaurant nearby. And when I say nearby, it's literally like 3 to 5 minutes by car, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
one. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want to eat other stuff, then you have to drive a minimum of 20 minutes to eat at other restaurants. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to go to a mall, there's no mall nearby.
Mm-hmm.
You have to drive 30-40 minutes to go to a mall, and it's only one. And it's not like the malls that we have in the Philippines. Like I mentioned, I've been remote working. So in the Philippines, I like going to Starbucks.
Mm.
I go there, I continue my work and things like
Yeah.
that. But I think one of the differences here too is that it's pretty weird to go to the bar, like the
Mm-hmm.
cafe, open your laptop and work. Because
Here. Out there, I mean, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Here,
Yeah.
because people here go to the bars with their families or with their friends and,
Mm.
have some Aperol Spritz, Ugo, and
Yeah.
then drink or coffee and have chit chat. That's it. It's more of a social thing for them. So I want to change atmosphere, go out to the bar like I used to do in Starbucks, but it's pretty weird that I stay in
Mm.
Starbucks. I stay for like what, 3-4 hours and
Yeah.
just focus on my job. It's normal. It was normal there.
Mm, yeah.
That's one of my biggest shocks. Like,
Understandable. I think for many people living in the countryside, is a dream for them. But coming from a hustling and bustling city and lifestyle,
yeah.
like you,
Mhm.
you're used to fast-paced life. You're used to being ambitious, being fast, being,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
always chasing something. And then
Yeah.
suddenly moving to this slow life, it's a it's an adjustment and a culture shock for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what some people don't understand when they just try to romanticize life.
Mm,
From the hassle, it actually takes some time to adjust your nervous system into always.
mm.
And you know me, even when,
Yeah.
like, since college, that I
Yeah.
study in the morning and then I do a gig and then I work full time and
Yeah.
then I wake up in the morning again.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
always like that. And then now it's okay, everything stopped. And the kinds of job that we have here is not really a corporate one,
Mm.
or, the slow life practically that you see online. There's
Yeah.
grass around. You can literally
Yeah.
touch the grass.
Mountains,
Mountains, there's
lakes.
river.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I'm thankful for this. But yeah, it
Mm, of
takes some
course,
time
yeah.
to adjust. We're gonna talk about it another
Some other
time.
time, yeah, definitely, yeah.
What about you? Like your culture shocks or any adjustments apart from, the housing crisis that you mentioned?
Oh, a lot. I would say a lot. But if I have to, yep, it's very different. It's very different, of course. Coming from an Asian culture, an Asian background,
Yeah.
coming to like the Dutch culture, the first thing I notice is of how welcoming the Filipinos are. I
Yeah.
realized that quickly when I arrive at the airport.
Oh, yeah.
Like we are always so friendly and smiling, but
Mm,
here I'm not putting this in a bad light, but they just don't care, which is also good because you can be
mm.
yourself. But yeah, when I arrive, I miss the usual greetings of the Filipinos and
The warmth.
the warmth and everything. So that was the first. But it's not much of a big deal for me. The second one
Mm.
probably is the cycle culture here in the Netherlands.
Ah.
Everywhere I look, there are bike paths. I read
Mm.
that the entire country has bike paths. So you can bike literally from the north to the south of the country.
Okay.
It's that connected and it's that well planned. So that was real nice because I like biking. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to go to my aunt's. So I
Yeah.
took my bike and then I went there and I had to go to the highway just to get to
Uh-huh.
my aunt's house. And then when my
True.
mom knew about she got mad because it's very, it's very dangerous and risky, especially I
Absolutely.
was a teenager at the time, not a kid, a
Mm.
teenager. But here, I see kids, biking around. It's very safe because the paths are straight. There are no
Yeah.
like holes in the on the road.
Surprise.
There are no holes in the roads, and I really love it. The bike culture probably one of my favorites here. It's a
Mm.
good culture shock kind of thing, I would say.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
like to say something about the bike culture.
Ah,
And
sure,
maybe
sure,
that's
sure.
why also you're used to riding the bicycle because even when you
Mm,
were a teenager, you already tried the Philippine highway. And I
yes.
would say that if you try to ride a bicycle on a Philippine highway, and then I guess you
You
should
can
be
do
fine.
anything.
Then
Yeah.
oh, true. That's why I never properly learned how to bike. And yeah, I fell on the bike like I told you the
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
So cool. At least you can adjust easily when it comes to the bicycle culture there.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun because we have the space for it. The Dutch made
Yeah.
space for it. There's a whole history of it, but which is nice. Lastly, I remember now there are other things, but this one really took me by surprise is how expensive things are. In the airport when I arrived, I was so thirsty, so I wanted to buy water.
Yeah.
I bought one from this vending machine and the water was
Uh-huh.
like €3 or something, and
Three?
€3, and I was still doing conversions during my first few months, and that's
Yeah.
like 180 pesos for a bottle of water, just literally a small bottle of water. So
Yeah.
expensive. And then everything I tried to buy, food and even McDonald's, usual large meal in the Philippines costs what, less than 200 or
Oh
something,
yeah.
burger, fries, drink.
200 pesos.
Yes,
Which
yes.
is like
Here it
what,
yeah,
three,
it
four
costed
euros?
€15 or something, which is I don't know,
Yeah.
700, 800 pesos, which was wow.
Isn't that one
And I
bucket
was
with rice in
yeah,
the
yeah.
Philippines?
That's already a family size meal. I was still living off my Philippine savings at the time because I
Mm.
haven't had my salary. That was my first month. Yeah, I realized that they kind of match it with the wages. Still expensive in my opinion.
Yeah.
Coming from a very frugal mindset.
No, it's totally understandable. And for real, the converting stuff. Oh
Mm.
my gosh, in the Philippines, this is just how much? One meal of McDonald's, like you said, in the Philippines, we're already very full and content
True.
with 3 to 4 euros. But then
Yeah.
here, like you said, one meal is 15 euros or something.
Euros. I've heard many people say do not convert once you're here
Yeah,
because it's just gonna stress you out, which is true. I think at some point I stopped doing it.
yeah,
Other
exactly.
things like you hear about it, Dutch directness,
Yeah,
the tiki and how frugal they are as well.
yeah,
But maybe we could talk about that some other time. But those are the
yeah.
main culture shocks I had when I first moved.
Yeah, exactly. Next time we'll surely delve more into the culture shock, how the Dutch people are, and then the
And how the
Italians
Italians
are.
are as well. Yeah. Let's do that.
Now, since we've pretty much covered how we moved to Europe, let's try to give some advice, I guess, for our
Sure.
fellow Filipinos or immigrants in general who
Yeah.
want to move to Europe. So, since you move as a highly skilled migrant, what advice can you give to others who want to move there for work?
I think I can only speak for my experience, which is the
Mm.
Netherlands. First, of course, is limit your search if you're looking in Europe in general, like I did. Limit your search, choose a country, research first before applying. Because for me,
True.
what happened was applying, then research.
Oh.
So I would advise to do the research first. How is the housing market?
Uh-huh.
How expensive is it to live there? What is the average salary? Because you
Mm.
need to know those things once you get to the offer stage of your interview. There might be companies that might lowball you, for example, and you should know
Mm.
that the average is this.
Yeah.
If your offer is below that, you're not gonna be able to live comfortably with it. So you're gonna live
Mm.
paycheck to paycheck. So you always have to do your research, whichever country you choose. So it's very important, money is very important because it's an expensive country, the Netherlands, I would say. And then another advice, mentally prepare yourself for all the things that will happen. Expect all the unexpected things because for me, I was just super excited that I didn't consider how homesick I was gonna be after 3 months. I wasn't thinking about
Oh,
that. I was just so excited. I'm gonna see the Netherlands. I'm gonna explore Europe because
true.
the visa is connected to all these
True,
Schengen
exactly.
countries.
Mm.
I was so excited that when I hit that, I don't know if it's 3 months or 6 months, but when I hit that certain point, it
Mm-hmm.
just came to me so overwhelmingly that I got super, super sad. Like I was
That.
breaking down, crying. I miss my family, my friends.
Mm.
I second guess my choice. Why did I move here? I have
Oh.
no one here. So all those stuff, it will happen. So you have to consider that. You have to mentally prepare yourself as well.
Mm.
Lastly is try to practice the language, the country
Yeah.
you're gonna move into. So I
Mm.
did that. Like before I moved, I downloaded Duolingo, even though it's just a basic thing and it doesn't, give you the grammar. But it's nice to be able to say to the bus driver, Goedemorgen,
Yeah.
meneer. Hoe
Oh,
gaat
that's good.
het? They're good in English, but they still appreciate if you try to speak Dutch. They will see it that you're trying and you're learning, not just defaulting to English. Learn your greetings, learn your thank yous, your welcomes.
So I would say, like for work too, every job that you find here, job post,
Mhm.
is in the native language. They kind of require
Yeah.
you to speak
Mm.
the native language, which is of
Yeah.
course
I mean,
that's how it
only
should be.
natural, right?
Yeah.
You're in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
about you? What advice would you give to aspiring Filipinas
With the
who wants
fams.
an afam?
Well, if you're in a relationship, it really depends on the person that
Mm,
you are with or you want to be with. The person not only encompasses him or her as an individual, but also the
mhm,
culture surrounding that person. So it's
true.
very important to try to research what kind of culture do they actually have from where this person comes from. For example, for us Filipinos, you should know that we are tied closely to our
Yeah.
families, right? We
Yeah.
give importance to the family to the point that when we go abroad, the goal is at the back of our heads, I want to bring my entire family here with me
Yeah.
as soon as I
True.
can. That's the thing. But if you are marrying a person from another culture, you should, of course, talk about that, right? Is he
Mm,
okay with that? Because it will not only affect your relationship between the both of you, but it's also a huge expense.
true.
You already moving by yourself to Europe is already a huge expense. So
Yeah.
imagine bringing your entire family over.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you try to know the person, where he comes from. Are the Italians also close to their family? Or if not,
Mhm.
then you should maybe try to understand or adjust that they wouldn't understand this kind of familial situation that you are in. I think that's the most important. And financially speaking, well, like you said, we could only really say for our experience, because like I mentioned, like salary wise, I didn't have a problem before because I'm already earning enough to live here in Europe.
Yeah.
It's not the same for most Filipinos or for most people who want to go and live here. So try to have something for yourself too, even if you're marrying an afam or someone.
True. Yeah.
Especially in this economy, mostly it's really required that both of you work. And important that you talk about that kind of arrangement. What are your goals as a
Mm-hmm.
person and together? For me, we're both always on the same page. But of course, I know some people who go here, not exactly from the Philippines, but also from a developing country. She's also married to an Italian. But her
Yeah.
mind is that I want to have a job here. I really want to work here because my mother back in her country is living with the uncle. So she doesn't have an income, and her goal is really to buy a house for her mother. But the
Okay.
husband
Yeah.
is not willing to share
Oh,
his
okay. That's a
salary.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So if you value your family and then your husband doesn't really agree into giving this amount to support your family back there, then it's gonna be a problem. She was very, very stressed out about it.
Mm.
It's affecting, of course, their relationship. And already it's difficult if you come here via marriage because it's not like you have an automatic job or you have an automatic thing to do. You try to build your
Exactly.
life
Yeah.
based on where you moved,
Mm.
right? And yeah, it was difficult because she doesn't speak any Italian at all.
Oh,
How are you
okay.
going to have an income and then your husband doesn't want to share any
Yeah.
money with you? Which is
Yeah.
understandable. That's why anyway, that's why you have to talk about it first and you have to be at this in the same page with the same goals in life
Mm.
together so that there
That's
wouldn't
true.
be so much friction on the big things. When it comes to having children, you should have talked
Yeah.
about it. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to family things, how close are you with your family? I think that's very, very important. How much are you willing to give out to your main family? Religion is also important. Those big
That's true.
things, I would say that early on, you try to see whether you fit with your values in those big things. And then after that, you would pretty much know whether you're in there with the right person or not.
That's a very good advice, solid advice actually, because some people are just blinded by overly romanticizing the idea of marrying a foreigner and
Mm,
living in a foreign land that you forget that you're basically starting a family. You're finding a partner and you're
exactly.
joining your partner's family in a foreign country. So you really have to make sure that your values fit, your cultures align,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
don't want to get sick of each other, like you're choosing this
Exactly.
person to love and to
Uh,
marry, not just your ticket to ticket
yeah,
to be able
exactly,
to move
right?
abroad. It has to be,
Especially,
genuine. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's difficult when you only wanted to be there just for the heck of going to Europe or for the heck
Yeah.
of going. Like,
For
yeah, I
the
just want
travel.
for the travel, for the convenience. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm
Mm.
in Europe. Take picture here,
Mhm,
picture there.
mhm.
No, no, it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna create a lot of friction in the future, especially if
Mm.
you don't agree with your partner money wise, family wise, religion
Mhm.
wise. It's very difficult.
I think that's all the time we have for now. We'll
Yeah,
have
I think
plenty
so.
more episodes in the future. I think for the next one, what are we going to talk about?
We're planning to talk about the visa process in detail
Yeah, so stay
and
tuned for that.
visa, immigration,
Mhm, mhm.
and the
And
requirements,
everything
things like
else
that.
you need, at least for the Italian and Dutch
Dutch.
migration.
Thank you. And of course, if we have some viewers who are also a migrant themselves, then leave a
Mm.
comment as well if you have any, especially if you have any particular experience, so our
100%.
viewers
Share your
can learn.
stories in the comments, ask us questions. Let's be friends. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Until
See
next
you.
time.
Till
Bye
next time.
bye.